What's up, y'all? I'm back. It is me. I'm here to play the game for you. It's fun. How's it going? Tired? I'm not feeling the tip-top shape today, so we are gonna just probably stop after the investigation. Um, Even if that leads to a shorter stream. So, yeah, that's that. It is good to be back to the streaming. Yo, Great Eastern Chronicles, press any key. Continue, I think. Yep, that's the one. Got to resolve. Let's just jump into it. I don't really have anything of note to say. Maybe I should go get a water first before I say hold that thought. Yes, the lad is indeed back. Hello, Flargra. Looking as beautiful as ever, I see. How are you? Let us load episode 2, what does that say? The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro? Yeah. Or is that Kokoro? Are we doing British?
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night.
Uh-oh.
I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
Beautiful cursive, by the way.
Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Oh my. Let us see what is going on here. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting. Oh, I love this song. Starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. It made a long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. Of sorts? I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Oh my. Are you hungry? Hungry little wee-oo? What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Ooh, what's for breakfast? What's for break? What is for break today, 30th August, 7:28 AM, Sholmes' suite? Ah, Runo, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I'd surprised to... Shh, not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it. Oh, hello. Yes, lean in a little closer, why don't you, with those lips? Truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Glad you're doing good, by the way. In case I didn't say it, I might have, said it too quietly. But I can't remember. Can I talk now? Can I talk? Can I talk? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember? By you. Harley pulled your button off? Oh. Oh, Harley's getting a little frisky last night. Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. Oh, Hurley. Or Herlock. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was an error. But Harley, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Well, that really is a surprise. Oh God, Hurl. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. Oh boy. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. Truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, as published in Ranced magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Well, I received a letter from Japan. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it, really? That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun. Let me tell Miss Susato's letter. Let's see what she's got. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by International Post. Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it. And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. That is right. Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man twice. You know, in those two cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and mustache. He didn't have two mustaches, Harley. Yes, who could forget those two cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although, I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Startling news. So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Oh, you're so me. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago. For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh. On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Suzato's letter questioned him about the case, she said. Father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram. Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it? Love this song too. This game is such a good OSG. Yes. And I compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication too. And then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, he said. And very, very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that? Wait. Is this what that manuscript was about? The case of the something wolf? I forgot what it was called. Is that what this was about? Is this what that was about? I mean, Hound of the Baskervilles, that's what it was. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Is this what this is about? That's gonna be wild. Do you perhaps know something about this as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Suzato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No. It just said she was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home. Why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Suzato's father is hiding. Ali, do you know what it's all about? He's changed. Oh, well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. Oh, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, Hurley, don't worry. See you later. Oh, what a handsome man. He's got a lot rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. So Zaki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found them at last. Iris, are they? The notes about the case, that's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Bruno? Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. Ooh, what is this? Ooh. Damn it. That's the spirit. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and the fierce battle in court that followed, reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice what? Law in the courts of Great... What the fuck? Sorry for the swear, but like, what? No. You just started, boy. You can't... No. It was 6 months ago. No, I know. I remember. But, like, for some reason it didn't dawn on me that that's what would have happened, and I'm upset about it. So, like, let me live my life. Let me forget for a second everything that would have transpired because it didn't occur to me. I'm so dumb. It's been a long week. Okay, never mind. It's just a shocking thing, that's all. It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Okay, yeah, no, I feel really dumb about that. I completely didn't think about that was what would have happened after what happened in the last game. Shit, okay. Oh my god. Joyful, joyous jubilation was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. Bart's Simpsons. Susato-san and I summoned a hansom? I don't know that word. And headed immediately to the hospital. St. Bart's. There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. I think not. Oh. You're late. What on earth took you so long? That is a big-ass rat. Me too, Paper Star. I feel that. How you doing? What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was woken up this morning by a telegram boy, and feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused to such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Oh god, Sholmes. Anyway, you're here now. So, the victim is over there. She's just regained consciousness. She's really short. Just introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back. Her name is... Ah yes, here we are, Miss Green. Hey, a mouse, Mr. Naruhodo, an enormous mouse. Vermin in a hospital? That doesn't seem the best. But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you're thinking. That must be the bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though. I expect a friend or a family member probably bought some things for her. Alright, let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt, and... No, Mr. Naruhodo. You must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings. The young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. Is this a model? This rounded wooden figure is the most charming, isn't it? I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Really? It's not exactly what you would call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it? No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before. Yeah, true, never judge a hospital by its mice. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Can we not make fun of this? I assume it's, like, something to do with this woman. Please, let's not make fun of her weight. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Oh, look at that. Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. Looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? My, Mr. Naruhodo, I didn't know you had a sense for the matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. That was funny. She got a little artist BF going on here. There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Popping bottles in the ice like a blizzard. Do you think it's safe to keep them like that? If you were a patient here, I feel sure you take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep. That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one. Oh, I've no doubt that you managed to unlock that somehow where you were half asleep as well. There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Miss Susato. Oh lord, these two, I love them. This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. Is this place a zoo? You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park. The pigeons, yes, this is a person. Poor woman, I hope she hasn't read this. Good morning. Hello, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. No, was it your knife then? Are you the man who... No, I'm a lawyer. And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Nice to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes. Oh, this poor girl's like traumatized. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. But what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. Oh no, don't say that. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. Oh my god, this poor woman. I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day. The fog was so thick, couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. The case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I mean. Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I. Sherlock Sholmes, you didn't do shit. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it's Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming round to seem to make everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never. Oh my god, this poor girl. Oh. What's her like little bio gonna say if I look at it? Oh my god, this woman, I feel so bad. Selfish woman. Oh no! We're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. With that kind of attitude, maybe her name should be Blue instead of Green. Leave her alone. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no. Well, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? No, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I see. That's very interesting. Oh no, is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here, and Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not. The Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young woman, fine art student to be walking in such a district. That's all. Oh, I see. What's this? She suddenly claimed out. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs. Oh dear me, do forgive me. If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much for screaming. Can you hear my olive green voice? I am kind of being a little quiet. She seems like the reserved, kind of like, type. Who doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself, and therefore she's really soft-spoken. Is there Mr. Narrowfodder here? Mr. Narrowfodder? Narrowfodder now. Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me. But... oh, have some confidence in yourself. Be good to yourself. Love starts from the inside. Remember that. It's not that you can't love somebody if you don't love yourself, but I don't recommend it. Ah, Mr. Narrowfodder, good. This is for you. It's a message from a Mr. Saucy Nutsmith. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me? But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh, that's mail fraud. Well, this is most unexpected. I don't know if it's mail fraud, but like he's opening someone else's mail. It's federal crime. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? He says. Have you not seen this note? No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls, a case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time's of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to meet Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? His new lodgings are the jail again, right? It's all in here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what? I'll hail at once. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, he gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. Oh boy. But I'm telling you though, be confident in yourself. You gotta walk around, be hot shit. Because you know what you are. Okay? That's so important. Oh my. Oh, this little fop doodle dead? I thought, oh. What on earth? Oh, he must be the second floor dude. Oh my, it's the gentleman deceased without question. He's dead. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, Mr. Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Not the horrible hairlock Sholmes. Shoo, shove off, show yourself the door. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. Yeah, I love him too. I actually really enjoy doing the voice. Hey lad, it's Gregson. Here they are, already. The busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? It gives me the heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. Huh. I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, Sunshine. Oh, there's a lot going on here. Here we go. Wait, I said Hansel, you're gonna mess up my crime scene. Oh, no, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance, I know you're kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Ugh, someone's in a bad mood. Where's Iris? There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Alright, it looks like I better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. Alright, here we go. Yeah, here we go, here we go. 1, 2, 3. We do enjoy a Gregson here, even though it looks like he has no neck. Inspector, the victim's name, who was he? No way! Oh my god. Mr. William Shramspear. With some water here. You want curry, preferably with flavor? Oh, I feel that. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. But dead lost as it happens. Or just dead. Mr. Shamsphere. It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb. Old Mr. Garadeb and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. Fellow didn't rise at his usual hour, so Mr. Garadeb got word and kicked the door down. But doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg? Ah, yeah, right here. Right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? Suzaki-san? That I would love to see. The victim was pretty hard up, it seems, even with some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in the house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? Not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious, but I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from a cohabit. Oh no. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. Anyway, I can't say much more until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella has been a goner that long. But still warm. Even the inspector would allow it. I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Yeah, no, I feel that. I just watched a video of a mortician on Wired.com answering questions. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim lived up here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So, do you know the victim? Were you friends? The only friends I have are books and Wagahai. What's the matter with Suzaki-san now? I have no idea. He does have a great mustache, actually. And his eyes almost... His eyebrows and eyes almost look like they're, like, drawn on him. I love it. It's an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? Never. On my honor, I swear it. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruto? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there. Oh, I see him. I see the inspector, honestly. The candle right here. Can't inspect anything, though. God, y'all, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for here. Can't converse with anybody. I think I've seen everything in the room. What is that? Is that a stage with like a fake bush? I seem to be able to examine this bush here. Let's see what the bush has to say. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? What? Where is he? I don't see him. I was only looking at the bush. But the frog, I think that is. Ah, you need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating naturally. There's nothing natural about that post. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been in this room, 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. My goodness, but isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I've managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. First, is that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. Oh boy. And my second conclusion is that my foot is falling asleep, and I'm not okay with it, is that there's a poison lingering in the air here. Last night that passed the victim's use. Nonsense! Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please, pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deduction, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. I've heard some truly astounding great deductions in Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. When miracles will unfold before our eyes, is sarcasm? Because it's sarcasm. So, my dear fellows, with delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular, Act 1. The great deduction. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate, which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap set so purposefully upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact. Yes. What? Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. Here's the young man's appetite was his undoing. Picking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. Oh my god. London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by the poison that tainted the contents of the plate. Soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally I have a great interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Oh, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest, actually. Yeah, he ate some soap. Suicide or murder. cause our death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the following question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. So forced open now. At the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole clue was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence flocked an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. Take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on the way to the hereafter. Okay, this ought to be good. Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Holmes' great deduction. 2 acts is a little short for a Shakespeare play. Or I guess he was a Shakespeare. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Hey, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, you really think the man would have eaten soap? I mean, have you eaten soap before? I certainly have not, but I've heard people talk about it. It's quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. Curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. Oh man, the forbidden candy. How extraordinary. In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that I would cleanse my gut. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spit the contents of my stomach. Yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? It's Mr. Natsume. Oh! I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. Nonsense. Well, the clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. His tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Yep. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Guess we must pick out the keyword. Oh, okay. Enter 3. Yep. Yeah, hell yeah. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, we will continue to light one to let the curtain rise for Sherlock Holmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular Act 1. Course correction. There's like 3 variations of the song and they're all good. Alright, let's see what we got. It's not the fork. Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than attempt to eat it with chopsticks. And of course, only half the bar of soap is left on the plate. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap. Okay. A handful of things it could be, unless... Oh. I didn't see that there. Whoops.
Take that!
Whoops. Of course, the other piece of soap revealed the answer. Could it be the man who was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really? The no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. That begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer that we seek. But London's foul soap is bespoke. Of course, booze meal. Thank you. Thank you, my dear lovely assistant.
Take that!
Yep, the teacup. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by the poison that tainted the teacup. I love the mocap in this game, by the way. It's so good. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room, which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Alright, let's see. Did the man die and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. We've already featured heavily in our deductions so far. Yeah, so we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There'd be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. More to this deduction than it seems. Yep. Up.
Take that!
Wow, it's not that difficult, actually, this one. They were never difficult, though. Did the man die and then die alone? The other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. Ah! In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. That Mr. Fairplay's silhouette? At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. Draw a conclusion on okay. So, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know exactly who exactly was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed, the broken law. Okay. It's gonna be the wine, huh? I'm not sure where where this deduction's going. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much. So I love that word. At the end of the gap, I guess who was in the victim who was in here last night when the victim passed away. I think I have a very bad feeling though. Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. Oh boy, here we go, Pile of books?
Take that!
Music did not stop, okay. Oh, I thought it was because they were his books. Oops. Is it the candle?
Take that!
Nope. I don't understand how the wine would, or the bottle would, okay, but maybe it's the bottle. It seemed too easy, but like, okay, yes.
Take that!
Nope, it's not that. Hey Blue, how you doing? Alright, well, they were, this is, okay, let's see, maybe I'm just tired, but like, how you doing Blue? But like, I hope you had a good, you know, day today? I don't think you were streaming. Oh, is it this? No. Why it's first day Friday the 13th movies. Nice. I'm doing alright. I just got back to my apartment and I'm struggling to figure out what I'm supposed to be looking for. Okay, we got the empty bottle though. There's only like 4 things that I can hit in the broken lock. Is it? I want to see what happens if I hit the broken lock. I don't care.
Take that!
Oh, I can. Oh, that's... Whoops. I wasn't thinking about that. I guess this is technically an exam. I forgot you could do that. It's been a while since we've had to do one of these. It's empty. Makes me think you feel higher. First glance, I'll like to look. Oh, yes. Oh, it was the books. I knew it, I just didn't examine it. Oh, that's silly me.
Take that!
Look at me. Okay, that's actually pretty funny. Oh, we all have our moments, y'all. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so, it's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth. Ah! Oh! Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own, will you not? This very moment. No, never, non-negotiable. Can't bring your own copies here that proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Oh. Look at him do a little dance. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have bought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned them. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. To the victim's room. He's dabbing! Okay, that's really cool, actually, I love that. Last night, having returned your belongings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in his room last night as a result of poisoning. Dancing in the street. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Yep, he was in the last game. He was even on the last case. He was testifying. This is a flashback to like a couple days after the trial where we defended him on the suspicion of attempted murder. Like this is like the next day, I think. Thus concludes. Yep. Yeah. Oh, we just got him arrested, and now we're gonna have to defend him. Poor thing. Everybody, I feel bad for everybody in this case. That sucks. Olive Green, like, I feel bad for her. God. Not again, not again, not again. Not again. Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But wait! Hold your horses. Yes. Door, key, locked, entry, exit entirely impossible. He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal. What, you think that's an alibi? You could've just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But misery me. Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. Oh, you horrible hairlock Sholmes. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now. No dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but you have to help me, please, please. I'm innocent. Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. Oh, yes, Waggy. And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Suzaki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in the case of murder. So, like, the prosecutor is not Van Zieks this time, right? It's, like... It's not Barack Van Zieks, because, like, it seems like they hadn't seen each other since the last... In case 5 of the last one, which takes place after this, it seemed like they hadn't seen each other for a while. Thanks to the incriminating introduction of the great detective. Mighty fellow, that honor belongs to you. Oh, yeah. GG for you. G frickin' G. Well, at least that means this Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. And of course, and of course. Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadev, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Ah, Mr. John Garadev, yes. I expect that we could find him in a sitting room on the top floor, as usual. Right, we must remember to go and talk to him later then. 6 million people in London, and yet we keep running into the same damn ones. Oh, the poor man, so young to die. I suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was? I don't know, all we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn to a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right, I wonder. Do you think that putting our prints together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul? Sorry? I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this had. Really? This book is entitled The Beginner's Way Guide to Praying for the Departed. The British way. The wrong way. Your stash, yeah? Yeah, I siempre started. I'll just reread it now. One moment. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Look at all these chickens. These extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady goings-on. This one looks like a king's attire. King? I'd always dreamt of being a king. I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord. A daimyo. Or such like. With a chonmage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he had a chonmage. I don't know the words. Oh, you'd look wonderful with one, and you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a Chonmagi and a sword? What is that? What's this? Looks like part of an envelope, I think. Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When you look around the room, there's no sign of a letter or the rest of the envelope, in fact. Is there? She's right. And yet, here we have the torn off end of an envelope. This strikes me as unusual. We're gonna find that in Sozeki's apartment, aren't we? I agree. We better take this just in case. There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked. Yes, not much use, are they? Oh boy, what's the matter, Susan? Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all. Trust me, girl, I never stop thinking about him. Prosecutor Lord Van Zieks? Yes, he's so reckless with wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and should donate them to the needy. You can suggest it the next time we meet. You know, she's kind of right. He do be wasting them. What's this thing? Not a machine. Here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind. Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for the gas they use, gas as they use it with coins. I see. Now you've pointed it out. I can see that there's a slot here, just here, that looks like it would take a coin. You mean if you put a coin in here? That's right, it would buy you about 2 hours of gas for light and heating. So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold? Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Yeah, that's terrible. Feel bad. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. Now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too. Yep, Paris is the city of love. This is the city of gas. We're in the bathroom. One of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guest drank from last night. Don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poisons in it. I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty. The gas. Next, they'll be running in the 90s. They were all probably running in the 1890s, so... The one was Mr. Shamspear's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. Deja vu. But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. The pair of teacups has been entered into the court record. No, you're good, Blue. You're good. I feel that. Oh, look, window taxes. As we've seen from the outside, this window's completely bricked up. Vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. Strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. It's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor people having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh, what is it, Mr. Zato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Oh, this is important? Oh, shit. Oh, yes. It looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them. Just a few of them. Was it Mr. Shamspear who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room. Oh, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What, outside? Those were soaps. Ugh. It's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap. It did snow all last night. It would be cold. More importantly, what is it on the ledge up there? What are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. No, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside a window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap. Ah, you see? In the middle there, there's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. Like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. Probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? Did we take the other one? Wait, that's it? Are they gonna examine the stage? Looks like you're having a good snoop around. Having a good snoop around, eh? Oh, yep, there's Greggy. Inspector Gregson. Soon? After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this to Investigation Division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low being back in a cell again so soon. I'm sure we should probably go... What the fuck? Huh? What's wrong, Mr. Naruto? I'm not screaming. Are you serious? I have to voice this guy after all? Out! Out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player. Dab, that struts and frets in his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. That's so funny, oh my god. How sounded the next part? It is a tale, told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed! Oh, happy day! Whoa. Walking Dead! That show hasn't been invented yet. The fella isn't dead at all? What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare. That's... oh my god. What the hell? We can't have anything. Nothing can be simple. We just arrested a man for killing a man who isn't dead. This is attempted murder again. Unless, like, there's another murder that's real. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that now was. Attempted murder! Old guy. Is it Pedro or whatever? Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shakespeare did consume poison, as we deduced. But was it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. Oh, so let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? Looks like he's trying to see into Saseki-san's lodgings. Something wrong, Mr. Naruto? Excuse me, could we have a word? I don't know what the hell kind of voice to give this guy. Just ran off. I guess I don't have to right now. I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? You too, but I don't remember. Yep, I remember him. I love this song so very much. With the exception of the top floor, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett live. All the windows are bricked up. Yes, that's Well, I think that was the exact same dialogue from the last game, so this is all probably the same. Let me see what's going on. There we go, the snowman is some sort of not a pedestal, Mr. Naruto, it's part of the snowman's body. Really? It already has a perfectly good body. Yes, Ryu. See that British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this is a foreigner. Now we're looking at him as if he's strange. Poor man. I know how he feels. Anything, it's Japanese and British 2-ball snowmen and they're strange ones, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections. Head, torso, and legs. You ever think perhaps that you think about things too much? Oh, I think he's cute. Leave him alone. Damn. I can't believe this. New location. Alright, well, I guess we should go... Maybe we should go see, We'll probably go see Suzaki first, honestly. See what's going on there. Is he in the same cell? That'd be so funny. Local prison, cell 9. Oh my god, it is. Oh, he's not here. Oh, that makes my life a little easier, doesn't it? Ah, well, we're back here again. Now I see how these 2 games came out back to back. Well, not back to back, but like a couple years apart. Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget. Ah, you chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation and coolness today. Quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb? Yes, I suppose you'd like to know about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? I love this song too. All the songs are so good! It's been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what happened. Well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer. And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door? Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? Man could have just overslept by half an hour. It's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every... Oh my god, called out. Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that. But we know he didn't do it because he was a witness in the trial like months later. Or a jury member, so... Just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden? Except that was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door. The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shamspear. The ground floor room 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In a word, destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it, the only redeeming factor of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bloody screw loose. They're hard to choose which category society would fall into. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude. He was doing research as well. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, and as you know, many of his works have already been translated. It seems that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone's too heavy-handed. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone's too heavy-handed there. There are a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of British English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspeare would have had much in common. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude. Oh, God. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning? I don't know. Must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, I remember. It was completely dark already. That failed act chap was out at the time. Mr. Garrett noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. After 8 before Shamspeare got back. The chap was up till past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he made a sound, and sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you, that was very illuminating. Is everything alright, Mr. Zato? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrideb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly? Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg. Then, how is it that you seem to know? Precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor. Ugh, that's a very good point. Yeah, guys. Can't imagine you could hear noise from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? I say, I know what you're thinking. It's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I? I swear, Ryu has like the most readable thoughts on the planet. It's crazy. How do you know, Mr. Gator? It's the gas woman. The gas tells me everything. The gas? Speaking gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can a gas tell you anything, let alone everything? But as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the bonding by pipes. Yes, I'd more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside, and the gas company supplies gas. Yeah, but Ryu in particular. Yes, Farga? I was reading it. Yes, I understand that too. Ooh, I've been humming it all day, my dude. Woke up this morning and I got out of bed. And a big old cup of coffee to clear my head. Like, I love that song, dude. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment. What? They dim? Why? Were you... Can you dance, Flarga? That's funny. I didn't think you had it in you. Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, isn't it? Mightn't it? Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. They were Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimdale Dimmadome. That's supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these pots are pretty hopeless. Long worn out. Barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here, and they glow brighter in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening. You can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. Of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garrideb. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah, my god, man. Oh, well, nothing to it, really. I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. I'd like to know. That's why Mr. Garrideb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison soup with Mr. Natsume again. A good idea. Mr. Garrideb. I do enjoy him, so I'm glad he's back again. Shady's back again. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, has the police finished questioning you now? Here we go. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes? He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost. But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too. Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Oh, I'm stuck in the cell suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions. His mustache is great. Shut up, police. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, that selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy, William. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamsphere was never actually dead in the first place. Oh, yes, that might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh, oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamsphere, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume. We need to hear your side of the story. Oh, why am I cursed like this? Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Converse. Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell, but Mr. Natsume, Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful for you. You for helping with that accursed case yesterday. Case that saw poor Miss Green hospital. It's after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings, and that evening at past 9 must have been. I visited Mr. Shamsphere. So you did go to the victim's room then? As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong. I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time. Then what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed a discussion, but he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in with Mr. Gerdev said that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift. It was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then. Oh no. And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare. I don't know if I agree with you on that. And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamsphere's tea? No, never, not at all. Team Juliet won, that was me, and when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit, I swear it categorically. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I've learned it's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. It's just very funny debate, isn't it? Like, who is strong? In what way, by the way? Oh, this poor guy, though. Everyone I feel bad for him. Which is why I become recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved up more times than I can remember. And then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. The rent was cheap. Oh, yeah, I knew it. Because the rent is cheap, I have so little money, it spoke to me. The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. It's because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no. He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that.
I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Great. I blinkered. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful? Horrible history. Wascally wabbits. How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened?
At first it was just a feeling of beady eyes watching into my back, boring into my back, watching me.
Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you?
No, my mind doesn't know any tricks, it was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place.
And now, a nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
All the souls who died in that room, I can lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me.
That really is horrible.
And now I come to think of it, it happened last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspear was writhing in agony from the poison in his body, I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of this room as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right, I know it, and that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Yeah, Susato is right. Otherwise, I'm scared you yourself may become history. Ooh, Susato-san knows how to make the man listen. Yeah, she knew.
Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well.
You mean Mr. Garrett?
Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Ah, perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps in his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget I said anything.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important is Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead. Once he's come around and able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
Excuse me. Inspector Gregson. Couldn't help overhearing what she just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh, which do you want first?
Always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle.
Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Huh? Sorry, but it's still easier to explain everything that way.
Then why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just unconscious. He's coming around now. Yes, we saw it happen all in its terrifying glory. Still being treated by the doctors, but we managed to get a written statement from them already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, thank goodness, it's all over then. I can leave this lumber cell.
Sorry, no, that's not on the cards.
What?
We're not, Inspector. The bad news? Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone, has been responsible for what happened that night. Implicated someone? Oh dear.
You don't mean...
Sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Knott. That's the finger at you, Mr. Knott, to me.
Oh.
By sweet poison, he did seek it to end my life. That wicked Kate Sozeki Natsume.
No.
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanted to make the necessary preparations.
No.
And so, once again, Suzeki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he is just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day I would represent my court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. We go see Strong Bad? Oh, are we going to court already? No way. Already? We have nothing. Alright, well, I'm not... I know I said I was probably going to keep it short, but I'm not going to keep it that short. Come on. The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon.
That's my line. Good morning.
Ah, good morning, Mr. Nutsman.
It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here.
Yes, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back.
But now this. Another morning, another murder, and here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to court.
I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Yes, morning.
So here we are again.
Yes, again. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquire. What's the bad news?
Oh dear, you heard, didn't you?
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say.
Also, I just realized that because of me not taking intermission or stopping talking for a second on the save screen, I can't split the VOD where I normally would. So, split the VOD here, probably.
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say.
Oh, I am sorry. You've done nothing wrong, Mr. Zato. Now what is it? Well, it seems the prosecution is today's trial. Will be led by... Really? Oh. Okay. Will be led by Lord Brock Van Zieks. Van Zieks?
Oh no, oh no, no.
Oh, he's back. Cool. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey, most legendary prosecutor in the land. Oh, Daddy. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Soseki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through, but still. Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal of the last trial wasn't the end of the matter after all. Yes, I know what you're thinking, the legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zieks is the prosecutor. Yeah.
Oh no.
That even if the person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another. And we've experienced it firsthand. And we successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal. Right here in the Old Bailey.
Ah, do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again?
I'll take it if you don't want it. He can look into my eyes. He can look into my soul with those eyes any day of the week, Soseki. So if you don't want him, I'll take it.
Cursed by evil spirits and now by the Reaper. Air of petrifying perils potentially.
Well, if it's potentially, at least you have a period of hope, right, Mr. Natsume?
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Yes?
I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You, more than anyone now.
Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear. Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom. Let's go. Oh yes, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean. That's probably for the best. Oh, if you were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that can be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zieks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling. Naruhodo.
You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well said, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Well said. I swear on this.
I swear on the sword at my side and on the spirit of Cosmo that it harbors. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free with honor. Oh, yes! Alright, well, I'm gonna actually take that intermission, and then we'll get back to it. I just kind of kept going for a while, but I think it'd be best if I did take it. So, be right back.